All right, let's jump right into a really fascinating idea. On one hand, you've got Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot. I mean, it's pretty much the poster child for bleak, absurdist 20th century theater. And on the other hand, the Bhagavad Gita, this ancient Hindu scripture just filled with profound spiritual wisdom. You couldn't pick two things that seem more opposite, right? One's all about despair, the other is about the divine. But what if they're not opposites at all? What if they're actually two sides of the very same coin?
And that's really the big question we're going to explore here. What if these two incredible works, separated by thousands of years and completely different worldviews, are both wrestling with the exact same deeply human problem? What in the world do you do when nothing makes sense anymore?
I mean, on the surface, the contrast is just stark. You look at Beckett's world and it's all about paralysis, absence, this endless waiting that leads to utter despair. Then you turn to the Gita and its message is all about action, presence, duty, as the path to something transcendent. They really do seem to be in a head-to-head battle. But it's right there, in that tension, that we find a really surprising connection.
So, let's start on that common ground, the crisis itself. You know that feeling of being completely and totally stuck, just paralyzed by the weight of a world that feels, well, meaningless?
This question, it's like the cry from the very soul of Beckett's play. Vladimir and Estragon, they are trapped. They can't remember what happened yesterday, they can't leave their spot, and they definitely can't seem to do anything meaningful. They're just suspended in this state of pure, agonizing waiting. Their entire existence just boils down to that one single, unanswered question.
Now, let's rewind the clock a few thousand years to the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the great warrior Arjuna. He says the exact same thing, just in different words. He looks across the battlefield, sees his own family, his cousins and teachers on the other side, and he is just completely paralyzed. He literally lays down his weapons, overwhelmed by despair, questioning the whole point of his duty.
And this, right here, this is the key. Both Vladimir and Arjuna are stuck in the exact same existential trap. They're caught between an action that seems totally incomprehensible, whether that's fighting your own family or just continuing to exist, and the complete and utter despair of doing nothing at all. This shared paralysis, that's our way in.
Okay, so this is where their paths completely split, and it's where the Gita offers a truly radical answer to the passive, waiting world of Beckett. It's really a clash between doing something and just hoping for something.
The Gita solution is this incredible concept called Nishkama Karma. Lord Krishna basically tells Arjuna that he has to act, he has to do his duty, but, and this is the most important part, he has to do it without being attached to the outcome. See, the meaning isn't found in whether you win or lose. The meaning is created in the action itself.
Now you jump over to Godot's world, and that whole philosophy just completely evaporates. There is no meaningful action. There's only waiting for some outside force, for Godot to show up and give them a purpose. You know, they mess with their boots, they eat a carrot, but it's all just motion without meaning, repetition without any purpose. They've essentially outsourced their reason for being.
And you can see this difference in the very idea of the divine. In Beckett's play, Godot is this deferred divine. The promise is always, he'll come tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. It's an external expectation, a hope that actually fuels their paralysis. The Gita's idea of the divine is the total opposite. As Krishna says, I am in the hearts of all creatures. The divine isn't some guy who's going to show up tomorrow. It's an internal reality available right here, right now. One offers paralysis through hope, the other offers liberation through awareness.
So, what happens if we take these ideas from the Gita and use them as a new lens, a new way to look at Beckett's play? Well, the play completely transforms. It stops being about nothing happening and starts being about why nothing can ever happen.
Okay, let's bring in another huge concept, Maya. In Hindu philosophy, Maya is this kind of cosmic illusion that clouds our vision and stops us from seeing what's real. We end up mistaking the unreal for the real. And you have to ask, what is the constant belief that Godot will arrive and fix everything, if not a perfect example of Maya? It's the grand illusion they're clinging to that prevents them from seeing their true situation.
When you lay it out like this, the parallels are just wow. They're kind of shocking. The Gita's concept of karma, or meaningful action, is totally absent. It's replaced by passive waiting. The hope for Godot becomes a form of Maya, the great illusion. Time, or kala, isn't a progression, it's a nightmarish, repetitive loop. And because of all this, moksha or liberation is completely impossible. They are well and truly trapped. And this all leads us to a really powerful conclusion. Seen through the lens of the Gita, the play isn't just about waiting anymore. It's a depiction of samsara, that endless repeating cycle of existence, but with a terrifying twist. There is no moksha. There is no way out. It's a spiritual cycle with no exit door.
So this isn't just some abstract literary analysis. It all builds to a final, crucial choice that doesn't just apply to these characters, but really to all of us. This right here is the heart of it. The Gita's core message is to create meaning through your own righteous, unattached actions. Beckett, on the other hand, gives us this horrifying portrait of what happens when we do the exact opposite, when we just sit around and wait for meaning to be handed to us by someone or something else.
And nothing captures this paralysis better than the famously devastating final lines of the play. They know what they should do. They even say it out loud. Yes, let's go. But they don't move. They are completely and utterly trapped by their own waiting, by the illusion that meaning has to come from the outside. They cannot move. And so that leaves us with this one final question. A question for ourselves. Are we living like Vladimir and Estragon, just passively waiting for our own Godot to show up and give our lives a purpose? Or are we like Arjuna, who, after all that divine wisdom, picks up his bow and chooses to act, chooses to create meaning right here, right now, in the middle of his own battlefield? The choice, in the end, is always ours.